Dale Cregan appeared at Manchester Magistrates Court this morning. He was formally charged with the deaths of murdering 2 police officers, PC Fiona Bone and PC Nicola Hughes in Mottram, Tameside on Tuesday. He is also charged with the murders of Mark and David Short. Judge Taft read out the 8 charges the defendant faces. According to the BBC, Mr. Cregan wore a dark blue sweatshirt and looked unkempt and spoke only to confirm his name and date of birth. Cregan will be detained in custody until his appearance at Manchester Crown Court on Monday, where he will also face 4 further counts of attempted murder related to an earlier incident.
The prosecution told the jury he had lured 2 unarmed officers to the door and he was armed, ready and waiting for them. Nicholas Clark QC prosecution went on to say, as Nicola and Fiona walked through the small front garden, he opened the door, that's Dale Cregan, and immediately fired his Glock pistol. The jury heard how both officers were shot in the chest, but the body armour they were wearing protected them from those initial shots. The bullets, the prosecution said, did not penetrate. The officers the court then heard made what the prosecution described as a tactical retreat. PC Fiona Bone moved to the right, the prosecution said, getting out of the line of sight, and PC Nicola Hughes turned to run up the path. As they retreated, the prosecution told the jury that more shots were fired. Nicholas Clark continued. PC Hughes was shot just below her armoured vest in the middle of her back and was immediately paralysed, causing her to fall forwards onto the path. He continued, as she was falling or lying flat on her stomach, she was shot 3 more times. The jury then heard that Cregan turned his attention to PC Fiona Bone. She, the prosecution said, was trapped in front of the lounge window as he discharged 24 shots at her. Some, the prosecution said, struck the officer, others struck the house. She managed to draw and fire her taser, the prosecution told the jury, but it was discharged, he said, onto a hard surface, probably the pavement in the front garden. Mr. Clark added, most of the bullets struck her body armour or the wall at the front of the house, but she, he said, was the central target. As she turned and fell, one bullet managed to get through her arm. She was killed from a fatal shot, he said, to the top of her heart. Now, we have to bear in mind that as the prosecution was reading all of this out, the family of PC Fiona Bone and Nicola Hughes were sitting in the public gallery listening to this detail as Mr. Clark continued. A total of 32 bullets were fired in 31 seconds. And before he fled Abbey Gardens, the prosecution said he made sure he left his, quote, usual calling card. He launched a fragmentation grenade back towards the garden of number 30, where the two police officers were lying on the floor. The jury was told about the events in the run-up to this incident, the night before. We know now, say the prosecution, that Dale Cregan was in hiding. He was on the run from the police, and that we understand he was hiding in a house in Abbey Gardens where the shootings would later take place. But we now know that that night, the 17th of September, he knocked on a neighbour's door, and he had a grenade in one hand and a Glock pistol in the other, and he demanded entry into the house. The homeowner was said to be frightened for his safety of his family. His 7-year-old daughter and his partner were still in the house. And the prosecution described quite a remarkable chain of events. That Dale Cregan entered the house, placed the grenade onto the fire, sat down, demanded a phone, and demanded the man went out and bought him cigarettes, alcohol, and even tried to, quote, score cocaine. The prosecution said that Dale Cregan knew that this was his last night of freedom.
Today, Michelle Kelly, Mark's mother and David's partner, told the court about an argument in a pub between the matriarch of the Atkinson family and this man, Raymond Young, from the Short family. She said Teresa Atkinson was shouting. She grabbed a bottle. She threw it at him. He backhanded her. She said Teresa Atkinson then told the pub, "I'm going to get the boys. You're all dead."
Was the case that they gave me.